This is Sunday Live with Jeff Koinange and Olive Barrows.
Happy 2026. Can I still say that?
Yes.
Emmanuel?
Yeah, you can.
I can,
What's
right?
the date? 11?
Yeah, the 11th, yeah.
It's all right. It's our first bulletin of the year, so we can say that.
We've been reunited. We were together before the end of the year. We're back together at the start of the year. Welcome to Citizen Sunday Live. I was astonished today to discover, a few days ago I discovered there's this guy called I Show Speed.
I Show Speed,
right?
Yes.
And there was some clamor about him going to Namibia, etc. I don't know how that went. Then all of a sudden today, I'm like, hello, what is happening in Nairobi?
Everything comes to a standstill. I Show Speed in town. It was really great. I think we have a story coming up in a little bit later.
Yeah, we do.
We'll talk about it as well. But yeah, American streamer who's made shockwaves all across Africa on his Africa tour. So it was a good stream today.
And he was up to quite a lot today. We'll have details for you in this news hour. What do you have lined up?
Yeah, so we have updates in the Kenya Premier League and also the latest in AFCON as well. So we'll get a little bit more into the world of sports a little bit later on.
The highlights. Chaos in Gatundu. Youth clash as police fire tear gas during church service attended by former DP Gachagua. Law of the angry. 3 suspected cattle thieves killed, houses and a lorry burnt as irate villagers lynch suspected criminals in Kericho.
Mchana tuliongea, alinipigia simu akaniambia na kuwekea pesa ya lunch.
Pain and anguish. Families of Karen collapsed building victims recount last conversations with kin as probe into tragedy is launched.
It's a rush again this time. So we are only trying to beat the deadline.
Last minute culture. Parents and learners jam uniform stores in a rush ahead of grade 10 reporting tomorrow. Not only am I joined by yourself, and remember you can talk to us on at Citizen TV Kenya, at Obarrows, at Emmanuel ND, and the hashtag is Citizen Sunday Live, but I'm also joined by Yulan Zale as a sign language interpreter. A church service attended by DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua in Gatundu South, Kiambu County, was interrupted by a violent confrontation involving rival youth that were armed with batons. Police lobbed tear gas to separate the youth who vandalized a matatu and disrupted traffic along the Kiamuria-Gatundu Road. As we'll hear now from Seth Olale, Gachagua has condemned the mobilization of youth to disrupt his functions.
A standoff between 2 groupings armed with batons outside the African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa, Kiamuria. Gatundu South, where DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua was attending a church service. Police officers lobbed tear gas in a bid to separate the 2 rival groups. Members of the congregation that were caught in the melee suffered tear gas inhalation. This minibus, whose driver was accused of ferrying goons to Kiamuria village in Gatundu South, was vandalized. Traffic along the Kiamuria-Gatundu South Road was interrupted during the clashes.
tumelia sana na tumesikia uchungu mwingi, kwa maana hatukuwa tunategemea ati tutapigwa na tear gas.
Tumeletewa ghouls, wamekuja huku mpaka kwa kanisa ndani wanaturushia tear gas.
Former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua blamed the government for interrupting the church service.
Why are you defending criminals? Why? Hata ukipiga sisi, hata ukipiga hii wa Kristo, hata ukituma wahuni.
The DCP party leader defending Uhuru Kenyatta against accusations of plotting to divide the ODM party.
Uhuru Kenyatta alijaribu kusaidia nyinyi, kusaidia baba apate uongozi. Alimsaidia hapa mlimani na 1.3 million votes. Sisi hatusumbui Uhuru saa hii, tunasukuma kasi. Lakini tukiona kimeumana tunamhitaji huko mbele. Nitamuagiza yeye atoke retirement na kuja tusaidie. Wangapi wakisema kikiumana tumuite akuja tusaidie?
In defending his stand on senior school selection and placement, Gachagua criticized a section of leaders for not developing learning institutions.
Na wale wenye huko watoto wetu wanapelekwa wamekataa kujenga mashule. Wamepewa pesa mingi sana lakini wamekataa kujenga mashule. Pesa imemwagwa mingi sana huko lakini ukienda hakuna.
The DCP leader was accompanied by Kiambu Senator Karungo Thangwa, Muranga Senator John Nutu, and Kajiado North MP Onesmus Ngongoyo, among other leaders. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
President William Ruto returned to the Mount Kenya region to woo the residents, saying his political relationship with the vote-rich region cannot be destroyed by mere propaganda from his opponents. While attending a church service in Othaya constituency in Nyeri County, the president said the region will judge him on the ballot based on what he will have delivered for them by 2027. And as we'll hear now from Stephen Leto, host Governor Mutahi Kahiga stirred yet another debate as he confessed that he is still a bona fide UDA member despite his alliance with former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua's DCP.
Welcome, Your Excellency.
President William Ruto returned to the Mount Kenya region comes amid visible cracks in the political landscape. This former deputy swaying the region's vote to the united opposition. While in Othaya, Nyeri County, President William Ruto laughed off the claims of shifting allegiance, pointing out that politics and falsehoods will not undo the relationship he has with the people of Nyeri and Mount Kenya region in general.
Kuna watu wengine wanaota ndoto ya mchana. Ati wanafikiria ati watalete makelele, walete fitina, wafanye vitimbi, ati mimi nikosane na watu wa Nyeri. Hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana. Hiyo haiwezekani. Sasa hawa watu nitamalizana na wao asubuhi na mapema.
President Ruto told Othaya residents that the region elected him to the last man and he will deliver his promises and ask them to judge him on his service delivery.
Na mtu asiwaletee story. Mimi niko tayari kuja kueleza na nyinyi wananchi mtasahihisha kazi yangu. Si ndio? Si mtakuja kusahihisha kazi yangu?
Siasa sio kelele. Siasa sio matusi. Siasa sio kiburi. Siasa na uongozi ni kazi. Nego kada tego.
Mimi nataka niwaulize nyinyi watu wa Nyeri. Huku Nyeri mtu anachaguliwa kwa sababu ya sura? Anachaguliwa kwa sababu ya vitimbi? Si kila mtu anachaguliwa kwa ile kazi amefanya.
He further accused his opponents led by his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua of thriving in politics of sloganeering, exuding confidence that he will floor them on the ballot.
Hawezi kuambia hospitali itajengwa namna gani ama soko itajengwa namna gani. Watakuja waambie hapa ati Kasongo, one term, must go. Mimi nataka niwaulize my friends, hawa watu hawana agenda yoyote.
Masikia ile mambo rais amesema, mambo ya barabara, mambo ya masoko, mambo ya masomo, mambo ya stima. Hiyo ndio kazi mnataka ama mnataka kiburi na mambo ya kelele?
Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga perceived Gachagua ally stirred debate when he declared his full support for President Ruto.
Mimi nilipigia Rais William Ruto kura. Yeye ni rais wangu. Mimi ndiye governor wa Nyeri. Sijui kwa nini mnachanganyikiwa. I don't know. Sababu mimi nilimpigia kura akawa rais, na nyinyi mimi sijasikia rais mwingine. Kwa hivyo mimi bado niko na rais.
Kahiga insists he is still a bona fide UDM member.
Tuliongea na wewe juzi. Ukaniambia ulipoangalia rekodi. The last time you checked the records, mimi nilikuwa member ya UDA, full paid up. Si ni kweli? Sasa nashangaa watu wakiongea mambo mengi, sijui nini. I am still a member of UDA. Yeah, that's a fact.
President Ruto will pitch tent in Nyeri for the next 2 days. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
2 of the victims who lost their lives following the collapse of a building in Nairobi's Karen area on Saturday have been identified. Grief-stricken families on Sunday visited the Nairobi funeral home to identify the bodies of their loved ones who died in the tragic incident. The deceased have been identified as Harrison Ngala and Tuju Mwandakwa. 4 other workers narrowly escaped death and are currently receiving treatment at the Kenyatta National Hospital. Ben Kiri has those details.
At the Nairobi funeral home, grief and disbelief hung heavy as distraught relatives of 32-year-old Harrison Ngala struggled to come to terms with his sudden death following Saturday's tragic building collapse in Nairobi's Karen area. Ngala, a casual construction worker, was among 2 people who lost their lives when the structure came down at around 4 p.m. He died alongside his colleague Tuju Mwandakwa, both of whom were on duty at the construction site at the time of the collapse. For Ngala's family, the reality of the tragedy began to sink in later that evening when his widow made repeated phone calls after he failed to return home.
Mchana tuliongea, alinipigia simu akaniambia na kuwekea pesa ya lunch. Kweli alinitumia, akaniambia nitakuongeza ingine baadaye. Ningongoja. Kafika saa 2 hakuji.
Fikia saa 10 asubuhi ndio babake ananipigia simu kutoka nyumbani akiniuliza kama nina habari yote hapa Nairobi. Ndio akaniambia kijana ametuacha.
Described as a devoted father of 2 and the family's sole breadwinner, Ngala's death has left his loved ones devastated. They have since called for accountability, urging the government to act swiftly and ensure thorough investigations are conducted to establish responsibility for the incident.
Watoto wetu wadogo wakikufa kwa sababu tumeweka pesa mbele, hiyo si mzuri. Kama serikali iangalie, ijue haki, yes, mjengo unafanyika, ni vijana wadogo ni wengi wanakufia kwa mijengo, lakini story inanyamaziwa, hakuna mwenye anashughulikia. Na hiyo story kama ni pesa, mtu anaona pesa mtakula itaisha, lakini mtoto sitaenda kwa duka ninunue mtoto, niito wangu. Kama wazazi huko nyumbani wanajua mtoto wao ameenda kutafuta kibarua, amekuja Nairobi kutafuta, lakini sasa hiyo hayuko.
4 other casual workers narrowly escaped death and were rushed to Kenyatta National Hospital with serious injuries. One of the survivors, Johnston Owia, speaking from his hospital bed, recounted the terrifying moments as the building collapsed, terming his survival nothing short of a miracle.
Sisi tulisikia mara moja huko juu. Yani ni kama hiyo kitu imeshtuka. Ndio tulisikia imeshtuka hivyo, tunaonanga hapana, acha tuangalie nini kabla hata tufikirie. Ndio imeanza kuteremka. Sasa sisi ile kukimbilia ni yetu. Sikimbilia amani yetu ndio sasa wengine tukapatikana tukawa tumefunikiwa hapo ndani.
We wish to confirm that those with the soft tissue injuries, we attended to them and we have discharged them. The other 2 are not very well. One of them has got pelvic fractures and we have already taken him through the x-rays.
Another worker who escaped unhurt said there had been visible signs that the structure was unstable and could collapse at any time, warning that they ignored red flags ultimately cost the 2 people their lives.
Alianza tukushake tu mapema, unaona.
hata asubuhi ilikuwa tu nini msukosuko nini hizo vitu zinakatika.
The site has since been cordoned off by police following the completion of search and rescue operations by the National Disaster Management Authority. The National Construction Authority NCA, alongside other relevant government agencies, is expected to assess the site to establish the cause of the collapse, an incident that comes just days after another multi-story building collapse in South Sea, which also claimed 2 lives. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
3 suspected livestock thieves were lynched, houses burnt, and a lorry set ablaze by angry residents in Yakwai village in Bureti constituency, Kericho County. Residents say the suspected thieves were cornered while ferrying stolen cattle. Safin Aching Uma has those details.
This was the situation on Sunday in Yakwai village in Bureti constituency of Kericho County after irate residents cornered suspected livestock thieves who have allegedly been wreaking havoc in the area. 2 suspects were lynched and their bodies set ablaze. The residents also beat another woman to death after she attempted to rescue one of the suspected thieves, whom she claimed was her brother.
Last week tulikuwa tunaomba sana hao watu waweze kupatikana, tuweze kuonyesha wengine hii tabia ambayo wameanza katika area yetu hatufai, na ninawashukuru sana vijana wetu machensis, mnafanya kazi ya maana. Hii ni kazi ya maana sana.
The suspects were nabbed around 3 a.m. Sunday morning, ferrying stolen livestock in a lorry, which was also torched by the residents.
Miezi 2 ambayo zimepita, tumepoteza ng'ombe karibu 100. Na tunasema ya kwamba serikali kama hamtaingia au kama hamtashika hao watu, tunatumia sheria mikononi mwetu.
The residents will then storm the homes of the suspected thieves, where they torched 2 houses, brought down another concrete house whose construction was almost complete, before they destroyed crops on their farms to express their displeasure over what they termed as a perennial security problem in the area.
Ng'ombe wengi tumewapoteza, tumeenda hasara nyingi, tumepata hasara nyingi sana. Watoto hawaendi shule kwa sababu ya kuteseka, hakuna karo kwa wazazi. Kwa hivyo tunawaomba wale ambao bado hawajitokeza wajitokeze kwa polisi haraka.
Na kuna baadhi ya wengine ambao wanaiba pikipiki. Sasa maneno yao iko karibu. Siku yao iko karibu.
They are demanding immediate action from the security agencies whom they have accused of laxity.
Na mwenye alishikwa na akaajiliwa. Juzi mwenye ameshikwa tena kwa barabara akipeleka ng'ombe, ako na permit na ako na namba ya askari service number na ako na namba ya simu. Huyu askari mwenye anaandika permit kuandikia hawezi kusafirisha ng'ombe zetu waende wauze yenye imeibiwa. Ni wanaandikiwa na nani na kwa authority ya nani? Tunataka polisi wote watujue wanafanya kazi gani.
Serikali kama mmeshindwa kufanya kazi, waachia raia wafanye. Tutatoboa.
It took the intervention of police officers from Litein police station to restore calm in the area and to ferry the bodies from the scene to Kapkatet sub-county hospital mortuary. Safin Acheng Oma, Citizen TV.
As hundreds of thousands of learners prepare to join secondary school Monday, and that is senior school, parents and learners were engaged in last-minute rush to secure uniforms and books for their children. Long queues were witnessed across the country in uniform shops, with many parents saying they had little time to prepare. Willie Lusige reports.
The final day before grade 10 learners officially joined senior secondary schools across the country. Long queues were witnessed in uniform shops, with parents lining up for hours in last-minute rush to meet school requirements just hours before learners were expected to report.
It's a rush again this time, so we are only trying to beat the deadline. But we came here at around 8. So we have been queuing for the last, I think now 3 hours.
After waiting for long hours, some parents managed to secure uniforms, while others were forced to postpone the exercise after failing to find suitable sizes, as traders capitalized on the high demand.
Hii ni siku ya 3 kuja hapa, kwa sababu siku ya kwanza nilikuja kukuta kumejaa sana. But mtu kama mimi niko na challenge, nakuta nguo mingi hazitoshi kijana. So inabidi tungoje washone ndio kijana apate nguo, na kwa kitu kama hiyo sasa itabidi kesho asiingie shule.
Biashara iko poa, watu ni wengi. Hata wengine unakuta kuna jam wanarudi. Leo tunafanya labeling, naandika majina ya uniform, jina ya mtoto kwa uniform yake.
Many parents attributed the congestion to the short notice they were given to prepare following challenges and confusion during the school selection and placements.
The senior school hatukuwa na shule bado. We were waiting for the approval and the admission letters and everything. Otherwise ningenunua mapema.
Meanwhile, senior secondary schools across the country were in the final stages of preparation ahead of learners' arrival. School heads, however, raised concerns over the shortage of teachers, particularly those required to teach specialized pathways, as well as limited accommodation capacity.
Another challenge would be in terms of infrastructure for us to accommodate the said disciplines. We may need a studio for theatre and film. We may need workshops to accommodate these technology subjects.
Our dormitory, as I said, we have enough space. However, may not be fully adequate. There is a need to expand more.
Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
As top schools continue to celebrate their good performance in the 2025 KCSE exams, a little-known day school in a remote village of Morijo in Samburu North defied the odds and is sending 86% of its candidates to university. Our reporter Boniface Baraza brings us the extraordinary story of the Morijo Mixed Day Secondary School from Samburu.
The dilapidated road sneaking through the thickets is one that leads us to Morijo Day and Mixed Secondary School in Samburu North, an area characterized with insecurity puzzle over a long time. And whenever bandits strike, lives have been cut short. Families have been rendered homeless and hopeless as learning is disrupted. But despite all these challenges, the school registered impressive performance, sending 147 candidates to the university.
Tumepata alama ya B-. Haikuwa rahisi sana kwa sababu sisi pale tulipokuwa darasani tukifunzwa marisasi ya bandi zinakuja hivi karibu na shule, tunapewa klasi ya kulala ndio tuweze kuwa safe.
Aliweza kupata alama ya B katika shule hii na haikuwa rahisi kupata alama hiyo kutokana na ukosefu wa usalama.
It has not been easy. Like last year we lost 7 parents to banditry. We had a case of a student who was shot coming to school.
To date, the volatile area is under 24-hour surveillance. Armored personnel carrier patrols the area. Being officers attached a temporary GSU camp in the area just a few meters from the school, with the community attributing the success to their presence in the area.
Shukrani nyingine kubwa na shukuru security officers yetu ya GSU wakati wote ambayo wana make sure kwamba hii watoto ya shule na pia ya primary school wanaendelea kusoma, na hiyo ndio imefanya hii watoto wamefanya mzuri.
Inadequate poor infrastructure and shortage of teachers is another dilemma that the candidates had to grapple with in achieving their academic excellence. For teachers, they have to cope up with this makeshift mabati structure that serves as their staff room.
We don't have enough classrooms. In fact, we've been sometimes forced to take lessons under a tree. We don't have a single laboratory in this school. In terms of the staff, we only have 6 teachers, TSC teachers, against a population of 786.
With all those challenges, 147 candidates of 171 will be joining university of their choices to pursue their dream careers.
As the community and the institution attributes this stellar performance to the deployment of the GSU officers in the area to tame the bandits, they are calling for total silencing of the guns in the area to guarantee them a level playing ground to post stellar performance in the near future. Boniface Baraza, Citizen TV, Morijo Mixed Day Secondary School in Samburu North, Samburu County.
Jubilee's Deputy Party Leader, Dr. Fred Matiangi, has once again blasted the Kenya Kwanza administration for what he termed as growing confusion in the education sector. Speaking during a church service in Kiambu County on Sunday, Matiangi also raised concerns over alleged registration of foreigners as voters ahead of the 2027 general election. As you'll hear now from Crispin Otieno, the former Interior Cabinet Secretary maintained that the united opposition will remain solid in its bid to unseat President William Ruto.
With barely 18 months to the 2027 general elections, leaders across political divide continue to crisscross various parts of the country as they seek to woo potential supporters to back their political ambitions. Jubilee Party Deputy Leader Dr. Fred Matiangi led a section of opposition leaders to PCEA Muguga Church in Kiambu County, where they attended a worship service. Matiangi used the platform to fault the Kenya Kwanza administration for allegedly mismanaging key sectors.
Sasa muite hawa wote wasee wa kanisa, viongozi, professional leaders kwa room. Wengine wawaeleze the pain and the challenges that the parents are facing. Can we solve this chaos that you have created in the education sector? Sababu sasa tunaendaje Singapore na ushenzi kama huu? Mimi nawahakikishia, if you trust me mukinibea hiyo maneno, nitarudisha Linda Mama and we will clean up this madness that you are seeing hawa wametuletea katika sekta ya elimu.
Matiangi further sounded the alarm of alleged illegal registration of foreigners ahead of the 2027 general elections, warning that such moves pose a serious threat to the country's security and democracy.
Return a secure country that is predictable. Si haya mambo unaona hapa eti watu wanapewa vitambulisho foreigners who are not Kenyans. Si mnajua hiyo maneno? Eti kwa sababu watu fulani wanataka kutafuta namba za kura. Kwanza kudanganya watu eti unajua grupu fulani nayo imezaa zaidi, imefikia kama zile namba za mlima. Ushetani kama huo na ushenzi kama huo Mungu hatakubali.
Other leaders who attended the service echoed Matiangi's sentiments, accusing the current administration for failing to deliver on its promises and allegedly mismanaging public resources.
Ndugu Fred, watu wetu hawana maji ya kunywa, hakuna madawa hospitalini. Kila kitu ambacho ni cha nchi yetu, Kenya is a crime scene. Wanaiba mashamba ya serikali, wanaiba pesa ya kutengeneza barabara za Kenya. Ukienda Trans Nzoia wamechukua shamba za ADC zote. Kenya Seed wamechukua. Ukishinda uwe president, hizo vitu zote urudishe.
Na ukitaka kutengeneza nchi, si lazima utafute mtu ambaye anajua kutengeneza nchi. So, I want to join the others and tell you Fred Matiangi is the correct person to be the next president of this country.
The opposition leaders vowed to remain united as they intensify their campaign to unseat the Kenya Kwanza administration in the upcoming general elections.
Timu ambayo mnaona ya Fred Matiangi haina vita. Sisi tukiona vita tutaondokea. Hatutaki matusi because the God is intentional. What he wants done will be done. So you don't need to fight, you don't need to insult, you do not need to get this country into a spin.
Crispin Otieno, Citizen TV.
All right, we take a break on Citizen Sunday Live, but coming up, we show you, I show speed and the dust. What do you do with dust? Emmanuel Lugo is just in front of me. And the dust he caused in Nairobi today. Stay tuned. Coming up, US content creator Darren Watkins, popularly known as I Show Speed, excites Kenyan fans as he continues Africa tour. Thank you for staying with us on Citizen Sunday Live. And when we were on break, the English came back. Aishu speed is what I intended to say, was kicking up some dust in Nairobi today. But before we get into that story, I'll ask you to brace yourself because officials from the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council are investigating an incident in which a 17-year-old girl was left with severe wounds in what is suspected to be medical negligence at a private hospital in Kiamaiko, Nairobi's Kariobangi estate. The girl has since been admitted to the Kenyatta National Referral Hospital for further medical care. As we'll hear now from O'Day Francis, the hospital has denied any culpability.
A routine procedure turned into a life-threatening complication for a minor after alleged medical negligence at a private hospital. Tracy Akinye is currently admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital, where she is receiving treatment for both physical and psychological trauma.
Fika Albasra, wakaniambia nafaa kuingia theater ati appendix imeoza and it's an emergency. Kupelekwa emergency room, mama kusaini kitu, nikaingia tu direct, nishaingia nishaanze operation. That was the first operation of which ilienda vibaya. Nikakaa 5 days without doing the dressing and stuff. Nikaoza, wakanifanyia operation ya pili of which bado ikaenda vibaya.
Medical records reviewed by authorities reportedly indicate delays in critical decision making and negligence in undertaking the right medical protocols.
Any time walikuwa wanafanya hiyo dressing, walikuwa wananikata the wound ikabaki nje. Operation ya pili nilifanya na pupu na hapa.
The patient was very sick, had abdominal infection as well. Everything possible was done to control the infection. That was a main problem at that particular time.
The facility insists it followed proper medical protocols and standards of care, shifting the blame to the family.
So at that time when she requested to go, she was told that she needs to sign a consent because she's leaving the daughter behind, and her vitals were slowly deteriorating, changing. So she signed the consent and she went.
Saini ko hapa kwa sababu hao watu walitampa na mimi. Niko hospitali and I should be in school. That thing is really tampering with me. Hapa niko na uchungu kabisa kwa sababu anytime I'm not in any medication, like hiyo uchungu ikikam, I really regret why I was really born in this life. Those guys that really tampered with my life, wameniumiza, wamenikata, like I can't eat a very good meal kwa sababu nimefanya operation. Wameniumiza. If only you guys, you can help me. Hospitali ifungwe, sitaki mtu mwingine aumie kama mimi.
A formal inquiry into the circumstances surrounding Tracy Akinye's treatment and subsequent complications has now become officially initiated. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, in collaboration with the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council, KMPDC, the regulatory authority responsible for enforcing professional standards and disciplining medical practitioners in the country, say those found culpable will face the full force of the law. O'Day Francis, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
You can really feel her pain. A section of Western Kenya leaders have called for the toning down of politics in the country in order to allow President William Ruto the space to fulfill pledges he made to Kenyans. Led by Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka, the leaders who attended Sunday service at Poster Grounds in Bungoma County expressed optimism that the president was well on course to transform the country into first world status.
Singapore is possible. If you look at how Singapore became what it is today, ni kwa sababu ya mambo ya housing, kwa sababu ya mambo ya infrastructure, kwa sababu ya mambo ya kufight corruption, na hizo vitu zote ndio we are determined kuona kwamba inafanyika so that Kenya becomes a first world country.
Na Ruto huyu hawezi shindwa kura. Hii hawa hawana plan. Ukiangalia walikuwa kwa serikali za mbele, either vice president, either deputy president, either waziri katika ofisi ya rais, lakini hawakufanya chochote.
Na wale wa kabila ambao hata sasa wameanza kusema ati watoto wetu wakipita kwenda national schools hawafai kwenda kwa shule zingine hapa Kenya. Hizo roho za migawanyiko na chuki zishindwe, tuvute Kenya pamoja.
Online sensation I Show Speed took over Nairobi today in a packed 6-hour affair that saw the American streamer, who is on a tour of the African continent, attract over 360,000 new subscribers, hitting a total of 48 million subscribers on a stream that's had over 8.4 million views on YouTube so far. And that is the highest of his 28-day, 20-country tour of Africa so far. The 20-year-old, officially known as Darren Jason Watkins Jr., required a police escort and bodyguards as he made his way around the city due to the sheer number of people who turned up to meet him. Among the activities he undertook were throwing a javelin with Julius Yego at the Upper Hill School and playing rugby with the school team. He also tried his hand at making ugali and chapati and visited the Nairobi National Park and Uhuru Park, where he rode a camel before being driven by safari rally driver Ishmael Azeli to the Kenyatta International Convention Center, where he took a helicopter ride over Nairobi. I Show Speed received a warm welcome wherever he went, including the Kenyatta Market, where he ate nyama choma and was gifted drawings of himself by a number of Kenyan artists. I Show Speed has so far been to Angola, South Africa, Mozambique, Eswatini, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Rwanda, but none has garnered him as much attention on the continent as his visit to Kenya.
I love y'all. Kenya #1 right now, baby. Green apples!
Oh.
Coming up on our weekly Weekend Environment series, we tell you of rising pollution in Lake Victoria. Thank you for staying with us on Citizen Sunday Live. Scientists have raised an alarm over the rising pollution levels in Lake Victoria, which are contributing to recurring fish deaths across the lake. In findings published by the Kenya Marine and Fisheries Research Institute, the presence of oil layers in part of the lake and a high concentration of ammonium and nitrates have shown evidence of the discharge of toxic effluent into the freshwater body. As you'll hear now from Laura Otieno, the findings have renewed calls for stricter enforcement of existing environmental protection frameworks.
The calm waters of Lake Victoria. This has been a source of livelihood for thousands across East Africa over the years. But a wave of death swept in between 2023 and 2025 as cage fish farmers operating in Lake Victoria recorded losses running into an estimated 3 billion shillings. Massive fish deaths that swept across the lake left a trail of loss, and farmers from Kisumu and Busia counties were the hardest hit. Initial investigations linked the deaths to upwelling, a natural process where deep water with low dissolved oxygen rises to the surface, suffocating fish. The phenomenon forcing farmers to be extra vigilant with aquaculture processes.
What we can do better, and we did it last month, around October, when we had the fish kills, is placing our cages in the right spot. We used to have our cages close to the shore, and that was a challenge that us as farmers, we brought to ourselves. But now as we speak where we are, this is a very good spot, and this one was recommended by the authorities.
New findings now show that pollution also played a role, causing the death of fish even outside the cages. The Kenya Aquatica Journal published by Kemfree showing that water samples collected between November 2024 and January 2025 had elevated levels of phosphorus and nitrogen. Researchers say these pollutants that were collected from 3 points, including the river Kisat, likely came from surface runoff, sediment disturbance, untreated sewage and industrial discharge, a running problem exacerbated by the lake's proximity to major urban centers.
The entirety of Kisumu is contributing about 7,000 tons per year of phosphorus, and maybe followed by Siaya. Siaya would be because of increased discharge from rivers, that we have major rivers from that side, on the Siaya side, and maybe we are talking about industrial towns like Kakamega, like Webuye, that are having some of these major factories.
For lakeside communities, the impact of the effluent flowing into their source of livelihood is visible and worrying.
You find the water turning into something darkish. We want to stop this. I want to call upon the people around this river to be very vigilant and be reporting immediately they see any coloration that is not normal of the river. That will help us as environmentalists in following up on the real source of this pollutant that is now actually exposing these people to economic sabotage.
Lake Victoria is a transboundary resource shared by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania, and is protected by national laws as well as regional agreements. Kenya imposes fines of up to 4 million Kenya shillings for discharging toxic waste into water bodies. Uganda, on the other hand, fines offenders up to $1.6 million for large-scale hazardous discharges, while Tanzania sets a minimum penalty of $7,200. Environmental groups are now pushing for coordinated cross-border enforcement as well as community sensitization in order to curb pollution.
Waste does not create itself. It's people who create it. And therefore, and it's not only confined to the city or to a county setup, this is even in rural setting. I mean, all these practices, ideas, decisions need to be localized so that we can have sessions even with local chiefs.
Kenya's penalties stem from the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, developed after the country signed the Bamako Convention in 1991. The convention aims to protect Africa from hazardous waste. Kenya deposited its instruments of ratification in 2025. Researchers say the latest findings strengthen the case for stricter enforcement of the Bamako Convention.
There's an internal part of this convention that is really, really important. It talks about the management of waste and not spilling waste on inland waterways, right? Because if you spill waste into Lake Victoria in Kisumu, it will end up in Entebbe, it will end up in Mwanza, it will impact all those state parties that maybe they don't even know that you're spewing this chemical into Lake Victoria. But the question is, how do we prevent the waste from even getting to the rivers in the first place?
With research now linking pollution to economic losses and long-term environmental damage, scientists and activists are urging greater public vigilance. For now, protecting Lake Victoria is not just about enforcement, but also safeguarding livelihoods and preserving one of Africa's most important natural resources. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
All right, before we take the break and get into the sports news, a lot of commentary on the I Show Speed story already. What stood out to you?
For me, I think it's just how popular he was when he came here. He's been popular all over Africa in his tour, but here especially he's getting a lot of love, especially as he was going into KICC. It's all the commotion.
You know, when the Ishmael got him to the end, right to the entrance of the KICC, and he saw the sheer number of people, and he was like, "Oh my God, where's the security?"
Yeah,
he was afraid to get out of the vehicle.
He was panicking, but luckily they came, and you know, it was all good. But the thing is, everyone there was just super happy to see him.
Even at the Kenyatta Market, did you see his bodyguards had really shoved people out of the way?
Yes.
It was crazy.
But it's really impressive how he's been able to get such a following,
right?
all over the world. Europe tour, Africa tour, America tour.
Yeah, but it must have been an extremely great experience for him, despite him saying he felt a little bit under the weather because he was asked to race, I think, Upper Hill's fastest rugby player, and he said he just wasn't up to it today. And then what was funny to me as well was when he went to the Nairobi National Park and he saw the lion, and he kept telling the KWS officials that he has a dog, so he knows how to handle animals.
Two completely different.
Anyway, we're happy to have you in Nairobi, and all the best on your continued tour. We take a break, but on the other side, Emmanuel?
Yeah, we'll have the sports news. As mentioned earlier, we have the latest in AFCON and also some Kenya Premier League. So let's have a look at that after the break. Welcome back to the programme. My name is Emmanuel Ndungu. Let's get into the sports news now. Gor Mahia left the Gusii Stadium frustrated after being held to a goalless draw by Shabana FC, a result that left them second on the Kenya Premier League standings. Gor Mahia were chasing maximum points to sustain their winning momentum, but had to settle for a single point, taking their tally to 27, 3 adrift of league leaders AFC Leopards, who thrashed Tusker FC 4-0 at Nyayo Stadium. Ugandan Samuel Senyonjo scored a stunning hat-trick, with Ronald Sichenje netting a goal to ensure Ingwe cemented their position at the top of the standings. Elsewhere, Poster Rangers and Kariobangi Sharks played out a 1-1 draw, while Ulinzi Stars also shared the spoils with Nairobi United after a 1-1 stalemate.
Tyson bado na penyeza kwake Samuel Senyonjo Kisigino. Bebeto! Senyonjo! Ni ujumbe hapa. Ameuandika Samuel Senyonjo. Ingwe, Ingwe, Ingwe. Ingwe, Ingwe, Ingwe.
On to tennis now. Kenya's top-ranked female tennis star, Angela Okutoyi, continued her rise on the international stage after sealing a remarkable quadruple crown at the ITF World Tour Nairobi W35. The 21-year-old wrapped up the second-leg singles title on Sunday with a composed straight sets victory over Italian fourth seed Martina Colmegna at the Parkland Sports Club. Okutoyi stamped her authority early, taking the opening set 6-3 after a tightly fought start. When her opponent threatened a comeback in the second set, the Kenyan showed nerves of steel, forcing a tiebreak at 5-5 before dominating with her serve and returns to clinch the breakers 7-6, 6-3 and complete the win.
I'm really happy right now. I think I don't have words, but I'm just grateful that I'm able to win the singles title once again, and it just feels nice. This is my first time actually doing back-to-back, both singles and doubles in the same event, so this means a lot to me.
So that's all we have time for here on the Sports News on Citizen TV. We have some notable FA Cup third round results as well today. Man United lost 2-1 to Brighton, but Arsenal got a resounding win over Portsmouth with a Gabriel Martinelli hat-trick. So that was a good result for them. But yeah, now on to some feedback. Oh, you haven't? Well, FA Cup third round. It's not going so well.
Yeah, you would make it. You would make it better. It's okay. Let's take a look at some of your feedback. Let's see, who do we have first? Up first, we have Okelo Mwalimu, who says the government must do everything within her power to bring to book rogue constructors. engineers, government officers, and private developers responsible for unsafe buildings which continue to terminate lives and livelihoods. Agencies such as the National Construction Authority must step up their game. And he says in all caps, Emmanuel, you see that?
Enough is enough.
On
to the next one. Massive reception for I Show Speed at Olive Burrows. Why not explain to us who he is before closing the bulletin? Is he a world leader? Well, he almost seems like it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But for those who don't know, he's a popular American streamer. Streaming has really picked up the pace in the last few years.
When you say streamer, you mean he goes live?
Yeah, live streaming
on the YouTube platform, especially for him.
But other streamers might use different platforms as well. But basically, he just goes around. Recently, he's been going to a number of countries, showcasing the country, and it's been really interesting. The countries have really embraced it as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember which European country it was in, where the foreign minister came, meeting presidents, all of that. So it's really good.
So today, when President William Ruto sent him a message saying, "Welcome to Kenya," I saw the CS Rebecca Miano as well, with him on the KICC rooftop before he took his aerial viewing around Nairobi.
It's great for Kenyan tourism. I mean, you saw how many people were watching, so it was good. It was good. So
impressive.
That's I Show Speed.
All right, this is Babu Michael, who says Lake Victoria, being a source of countless livelihoods, needs a serious multi-agency approach to protect this very valuable asset and keep it out of human and other pollutions. Thanks indeed to Citizen Planet for such a life-saving report tonight. And he continues to say, welcome to Kenya, I Show Speed. It's no doubt you have made Kenya known to those who may not have known this great country. Such tours will surely change the narrative and how the world views Africa. Have a nice tour in Kenya. This is, quote, magical Kenya. Did we mention he was on Anganya?
Oh, no, we didn't.
Have you been on one?
I have.
You have?
Actually, we did a video with Radio Citizen of them taking me on an Anganya, which was quite fun.
I have to go look for it. Where is it?
It should be on TikTok.
Okay.
It was a few months ago now. It was last year, maybe, let's say around August, if I had to guess. But yeah, the music it was bursting my eardrums. So that's something that was fun. It was fun. It was a good
quite
experience.
An experience. All right, so this is you.
Oh, thank you very much.
So we've been your hosts.
To clean up our table.
Olive Burrows.
My name is Emmanuel Ndo.
Our sign language interpreter has been Yulan Zale. We wish you a great start to the week ahead. Good night.